Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. On October 20th, 2014, Chicago police officer Jason Van Dyke shot and killed Laquan McDonald, a 17-year-old African-American boy. He shot him 16 times, killing him. According to the initial police reports, those reports indicated that Laquan was walking in the street with a knife. The reports indicated that Laquan ignored orders to drop the knife. This report indicates that the police did not have a taser in their possession at the time. And this report goes on to state that Laquan McDonald tried to puncture a tire and that he damaged the front windshield of one of the vehicles. It also says that Laquan approached the officers with the knife, and then one of the officers shot him in the chest. Now, for the longest time, people had been requesting copies of the video camera footage so that they could assess the situation and understand exactly what happened. It was only after a judge ordered that the footage be released that it was finally released. And there was a delay of about a week because the order was issued last week. And from what I understand, they finally released the videotape tonight. Also, there are news reports that a nearby restaurant, Burger King, had video footage of this shooting as well. As many people know, restaurants have surveillance. They have cameras outside of them, especially well-known restaurants like Burger King. So they actually captured footage of this shooting, of this killing, of this murder. But the police confiscated or they deleted that footage, according to news reports. And I will include links in the description box of all the sources for the information that I'm providing in this video right now. So they have the video footage now. And I'm not going to show the footage here in this video. I will provide a link so that you can watch the footage for yourself. But in this footage, it does show Laquan McDonald walking in the street with a knife. But it does not show him puncturing any tires. It does not show him damaging any windshield. It does not show him approaching the police officers with the weapon. According to the footage that I've seen, from what I've seen, he's not approaching the officers. He's merely walking in the street. And it's hard to tell from the camera, but according to the Guardian, Laquan briefly turns towards the officers, and from what I can tell, if he did turn at all, it was merely to face them, to show his face towards them. He didn't approach them with the knife at any time in that video footage. Before he could do anything, these police officers, or this police officer, Jason Van Dyke, shoots Laquan. And the first shot is so powerful that it spins him around, and then he falls to the ground. While he is on the ground, incapacitated, that police officer continues to fire shots at him, hitting him 16 times. It's important to note that Laquan McDonald was 15 feet away from this officer at the time of this shooting. 15 feet away. He was not approaching these officers. He was walking in the street and he was gunned down like an animal. And we would not have known this if the video footage wasn't released. Because again, according to the initial reports, the police claimed that the brother tried to approach them with this knife, that the brother basically posed a threat to this officer. It's worth noting that this officer unloaded his gun on Laquan McDonald, a 17-year-old black boy. Now, around the same time that this footage was released, and this is like over a year later after this killing, Officer Jason Van Dyke was charged with first-degree murder. He's being held without bail. And one troubling aspect about this whole situation is that at least 18 other citizen complaints had been filed against this officer, and he was not disciplined once. Also, there were complaints that this officer used racial slurs. And I'll get into that a little bit later in this discussion. Before the family could even file a civil lawsuit against the police department, against the city reached a settlement agreement with the family for $5 million. $5 million. That tells you something about the nature of this crime that was committed against this young man. It tells you a lot about the crime that was committed against him. Often in settlement agreements, they say that this is no acknowledgement of culpability and this is no acknowledgement of liability and all that kind of stuff. But on a common sense level, we understand that that's exactly what it is. A city doesn't fork over that much money when they have a strong case. And a prosecutor doesn't bring charges like this unless there's strong evidence. So now I just want to tell you what I think about this situation. This is a prime example of why the word of the police means absolutely nothing. You can't trust a word that these police say. You can't trust a word that comes out of these pigs' mouth. That's why we need video cameras. That's why we need body cameras on these cops. That's why the public must be the watchmen of these police. Because we can't trust them at all. It took them forever to turn over this video footage, to release it to the public. It was only after an order was imposed against them that they finally released this video evidence. They told a complete lie about what happened. A complete lie. They said that this brother approached them. And we can see from the footage that he did not approach them. So that's why we need body cameras. And we need cameras in those police cars at all times. And the public needs to be the watchman again. We need to use our phones to monitor these cops anytime they interact with our people on the street. Anytime we see the cops pulling over someone, we need to be at a safe distance and record those encounters. That's the only way that we can document this oppression that these police are heaping upon us. And this is nothing new. The only thing that's different is our ability to capture this oppression on video. The other point that I want to go back to is about the failure to discipline this cop. Laquan McDonald would not be dead tonight or dead over a year ago. He would not have been killed if the police department did its job and disciplined this officer a long time ago for all these complaints that had been filed against him. Complaints of excessive force. If they did right, if they did the right thing, this brother would have been still alive today, possibly. So not only is this officer responsible for the murder of this young brother. The entire police department leadership is responsible for this heinous crime as well. Blood is on their hands. Blood is on their hands. When I saw the news reports of the people out in the streets protesting, that made me wish that I was in Chicago right now, because if I was in Chicago, I would be in the streets with them. I would be right there in the streets with them, protesting and demonstrating. Because the fact that this crime has been committed is an outrage. We're taught that these police are supposed to protect and serve, but all they do is protect the power elite. They protect this racist system, and they attack black people, kill black people, abuse black people, and we've had enough of this shit. We had enough. If it was summertime right now, who knows what would be going on in Chicago. I wouldn't be surprised if Chicago wouldn't be burning right now. And it's important for the people to realize that this thing is not over. Just because they charged this man, and that's a good thing that they charged him and they're holding him without bail. But how many other police have been charged with killing our people? How many of them have been charged? And at the end of the day, they end up walking free. They end up doing interviews and getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars. They end up receiving all kinds of donations, hundreds of thousands of dollars in donations for their legal defense. How much money will this pig get for killing a black man? How much money will he get? I can't say it enough. Tupac said that if a cop kills a black man, that cop becomes a hero. I will not be surprised if people defend this cop. I will not be surprised if you had these old handkerchief head, boot licking, butt kissing Sambos paraded before you to defend this crime, this heinous act of terrorism. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if you don't have these race-baiting, racist bastards on Fox News defending this. The other day I was watching a debate between Mark Lamont Hill and some racist white cop. And this cop was trying to rationalize this senseless brutality. But that was before the videotape came out. And I wonder what that same cop has to say today. I wonder what he has to say today. I don't think it's a coincidence that they decided to release this tape right around the holiday time, close to Thanksgiving, when people are thinking about being with their friends and family and having a feast and all that stuff. They're distracted by the holidays and thoughts of Christmas and all that stuff. So they figured that they could drop it at this time and that you would be pacified with these holidays that white man gave you. That you would be fixated on commercialism and this Black Friday. But I saw young soldiers out in those streets tonight, online. Soldiers that weren't sitting behind a computer, weren't just tweeting out some stuff. They were out there in those streets, protesting against this injustice. And we have to protest where we are. The Nation of Islam had a march in October demanding justice or else. Justice or else. And they called for a boycott of Black Friday. How many of you will boycott Black Friday? How many of you will boycott? Will you boycott? At the very least, instead of giving your money to the same people that kill you down, shoot you down in the streets, and don't give a damn about it. I just wonder, how long will this continue? How long will this injustice continue? And what are we prepared to do? See, we have to be the or else. A lot of people criticize that march, but it's up to us now to take action, because enough is enough.